Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody watching this video today. And today is going to be the first installment of the Self-Reliance movement news review, because a very article has been presented to myself in the last 2 days. So as you can see there, Domino's Pizza bids for the formal refills in Helensburgh. Now, if you don't know where that is, shows you in the picture quite clearly. Boots, that was the whole eco product, plastic free, great place that sadly ran out of business. Is they're gonna put a bid in to make sure that is Domino's Pizza. So with us already having Greg's and Subway, the next installment of a big takeaway food company is going to be Domino's into our local community, it seems. So I'm just going to get straight into reading the article. So Domino's Pizza chain could be on its way to Helensburgh under plans lodged with council officials. Now, the way that's been worded there with the Helensburgh Advertiser, it seems as if this is something to get excited about, something positive, which, of course, for the majority of us, is not going to be the case, as we know of the rule of Argyll Butte Council of keeping us safe from big bully takeaway companies, not only for poor employment wages and conditions, just for the poor food and keeping lively little independent places alive, So the former refilled site at 11 West Prince Street, subject to an application by MSG Scotland Limited for a change to become a pizza restaurant, and on a separate application seeking planning permission for illuminant signage. So obviously it's clearly for Domino's. It shows the international chain as the likely resident. The application for the premises to become a takeaway submitted by Harold Hood Limited, which is a Glasgow-based company, been running for 44 years, based on my research. Apart from that, can't find anything else about it, and was approved by Argyll Butte Council planning officers in January. And I was shocked when I read that, because I was like, I have not heard of this. I really haven't heard of that, and the fact of the lack of transparency from our this, and then with no objections having been lodged. That is pretty bizarre to me. And it's untruthful, but I don't think this was given the attention and plus publicity that it should have been. Because if it was so, I'm sure we'd have a vast majority of even other independent businesses saying they wouldn't want this going ahead. Now, the evidence of that, I thought, right, I mean, regardless to Helensburgh Advertiser, there's nothing in that in January. However, if you go to Minute Pressman in Helensburgh, what's happening in Helensburgh Lowland, I can say it's clearly dated on the 22nd of January. It's essentially the same article. Harold Hood Limited Company submit an application to change the use of retail to a restaurant or a cafe. So there we go. It has been in plan since the start of this year. And ultimately, I believe it's not been publicised enough. It's not been transparent enough to us, unfortunately. And as you can see, this is a rough picture. I can't open that up any further. I can only zoom in with it being very blurry. But as you can see, it's clearly, obviously, Domino's. This isn't just a speculation. And they're going to be right there on Town Main Street. Which will be unfortunate if it is to go ahead, but the fact that it's already approved last year just shows it's firmly in the works now. So, and then on the plan application from MSG's plans, described as change from Class 1 to hot food takeaway, right, we've already seen that. And in the application form also outlines plans to fit out the existing property, including an oven, abstract ventilation, consension unit, as well as a sitting remote storage container. So obviously all the things that would be niche to a Domino's coming. No design and access statements yet been published, which I feel like is shocking to me, considering how long this has been in the works and, essentially lying and waiting for it to come in. And the council has just been sort of kind of hiding this in the background. And I mean, without the goodness of Helensburgh Advertiser telling us of this exciting new shop coming into our town, so we probably wouldn't have known about this until they started putting the sign up. And obviously there's nothing that can be done then. I mean, ultimately you could argue there's nothing that can be done now, because this let it lie long enough. It's in the works now. So, and I can see there the refills that closed in May of last year. which began as Zero Waste Helensburgh, which is like a movement basically, in 2019. And it later evolved into the store, which sourced ethical and sustainable products as locally as possible. So you'd go in, if you didn't go in already, just like, big mason jars of cereal, rice, your grains, where you could come in with your own tubs, fill it in, pay by the weight. Essentially, of creation of more plastic waste, which was brilliant. And the store was actually awarded plastic-free champion status by Surfers Against Sewage in 2021, nominated by Plastic Free Helensburgh. So this place wasn't, just in the backgrounds of our community. This place was awarded, it was recognised, it was known, well known, widely out of just Helensburgh. So it's greatly unfortunate that it did have to pass, but the last comment they had to put in was, currently the nearest branch of Domino's to Helensburgh is Dumbarton. What a tragedy, eh? What an absolute tragedy. So that's why we need one right in our square. This is it's just like I say, it's just a rollback of commitments by the Argyll Butte Council. I mean, most of his McDonald's are open, which is like, okay, I mean, I can get that. I mean, make a bit of money from outside tourists looking for something quick to eat, whatever. But on the most part, they're protected from all this KFC, this Burger King, this McDonald's throughout the whole rest of the council. Not mainly just for our health, but just to protect other businesses, local businesses. And it seems like it's just going to be another rollback here. And what that leads to is worrying, because does that lead Domino's going into other places? Does that lead KFC coming in? Does that lead to Burger King coming in? To Oban? I mean, goodness knows. I mean, it's a slippery slope, and the health on a national wide is bad enough as it is, but especially here, we're on a lot better standard. We're a very active local population, which is great, and this is just going to hinder that, especially for the youth, with it being something cool and trendy. And especially when it's first open, it's going to have its few weeks of limelight where people are just going to be buying it. They'll be like, oh, Domino's in Helensburgh, smashing, great. But I will tell you this is nothing to be excited for. This is a demonstration of your council, your elected councillors as well, rolling back their commitments to your health and employment opportunities for our fellow local members. Now here I've got the official statement that we put on Facebook yesterday of Argyll Butte say let them eat pizza, which we thought was a suiting statement, proper eye-catching one. So for another big multinational company to be allowed to enter its claws into a local community, we'll see more poor condition employment, which is correct. Low-wage service-based employment for our youth, which is correct, which will already be seen by Greggs and especially Subway, which I used to work at, may I add. This is greatly shameful, not to the likes of companies like Domino's, but the actual council. The fact that Argyll Butte Council could be bought out from its commitments to protect all the community from big bad bully companies seeking to sell its unhealthy food and undermine the employment market in Helensburgh is disgusting and clearly shows a lack of morals in our local government and a great amount of greed within it. Which we all, without hesitation, all of us here agreed upon that being put out as a statement. Because ultimately it doesn't show Domino's is necessarily a bad company. We don't need more demonstrations to see how bad of a company for the likes of Domino's, Mackey's, KFC is. We already know this, right? But the fact they have been allowed to come here is a rollback of the morals and the commitments of a council that is supposed to protect us. So it just deems, gloom and doom for a slippery slope down the way for our local community. We've seen more takeaways, evaporation of local businesses, and it's quite ironic how a fast food, greasy, disgusting food chain is coming to take over a shop that was once a plastic-free, awarded place that was selling sustainable goods, and it was entirely, almost 90% of it was local made. The fact that that is being replaced, and that is the tragedy. It's not like, it's from producer to Domino's Pizza. It is a Domino's Pizza coming to something so toxic and unhealthy for local society. Something that was community building, community binding, and that's what we'll be losing by the rollback commitments of these community binding independent companies. Instead, we're just going to get this toxicity. Toxicity in conditions, toxicity in employment, toxicity with further CO2 emissions from the work. It's just gloom and doom, And we had our design members whip up this quick photo here as well, which puts it brilliantly. Here you have Algarve Butte Council, thin and slim, getting all our cash because we're the cash cow, force feeding us our Dominoes and our Mackies, and at the time jeopardising our health. So, and there you go, let them eat Domino's Pizza, and that is what the council is saying. And it's just doom and gloom for the whole of the council. As much as we are removing it for just Helensburgh, I can't not have sympathy for the rest of the council that are going to face this. And this greatly goes into reasons why we as a movement say no to this dreadful council. It's because it's just a rollback of commitments. And even if they didn't have already committed this anyway, this is a very basic, local communities, especially ones such like ours, which are somewhat rural, very independent based. We're not an urban, we're not by far anywhere near a city. So we're very, we're community based, we're independent based. This shouldn't just be allowed to come in and steal all the money, and that's what it's doing as well. Is ultimately any profits made from this, yes, you could argue goes into the wages of the employees, but the wages are significantly terrible. They will be. You'll be surprised to see what they put that at, because of course Domino's is a franchise business as much as Subway, but with that comes in almost like a daily tax. The Subway I used to work for, which wasn't Helensburgh, but I won't disclose where it was, they were roughly paying about maybe £250, £300 a day equivalent to the actual Subway Limited in America, wherever they're based, to essentially be allowed to sell their products. And that's what will happen is, whoever comes to own this franchise of Helensburgh Domino's will be sending however hundreds of pounds, thousands of pounds within a year up to their bases in America. It's just money extracted out from our pocket to another country. It doesn't benefit us in any way of the imagination, any stretch of the imagination whatsoever. So that's a little first installment in the news review. Give you an insight of what's to come for the news reviews. Pick out eye-catching articles from the Helensburgh Advertiser, but also Minute Press Man, wherever they seem to come from. And we just give them our little insight and follow up with a statement if we've already written one, or one off the cusp on this video. So thank you very much for watching. I'd recommend you follow this Facebook, Graham Aid, if you can find it, which is obviously where we put out our statements, and you can find out our email and our YouTube and also our Twitter. So let's go onto the Twitter so you can see what that looks like. I just appreciate all of our socials, just to keep up to speed with our actions. And there are exciting events coming down the road, I can 100% show you that. So there you go, at SRM_Helensburgh is the app, or just Self-Reliance Movement. You see the email there. If you want to pause the video, take a wee screenshot of that, email that if you want to become a part of, if you want to join, if you want to become a member, which mind is free. We're not charging anything for that, not at all. And here you can see our 10 objectives. You can see it on Facebook as well. There you go, we post our graphics and our statements, summarized versions for Twitter, of course. You can see links to our YouTube videos, etc. That's just what I'd advise you all to do if you're more interested into what we have got to say for our local community members. Follow us on everything, the Twitter, the Facebook, and here on YouTube. And thank you very much for spending your time here to hear some enlightenment from our local members.